Solo Leveling, Ragnarok. By Dang Du. Chapter 181. Ilwan's house was quite unassuming compared to the other houses in Yangpyeong. It was surrounded by small fields and some temporary greenhouses. "It's a bit small, isn't it?" I suggested that they make it bigger, but your grandfather said that it would only be harder to clean, Jaina said from beside Suho. Suho focused only on what he could sense around him. The look on his face was quite serious. "I can't sense anybody." His senses searched the greenhouses and the fields, but he wasn't able to locate a single person. Baru. Suho eyed the shadow ant, and his shadow quickly spread out in order to look over the surroundings. "My goodness. Did they go out again?" Jaina said, cocking her head. Nobody had answered the door, even after they rang the doorbell multiple times. She wasn't particularly worried, however, since the grandparents went out so often for farming work and various other pursuits. They were very healthy for their age, as well. "Well, I've never seen them stay at home for long," Jaina added. "I mean, I started a hospital and everything, but they've never once come in because they were sick. Now, that's a good thing, of course, but still." She grinned and input the door's key code, which she had asked for to use in situations like this one. The door lock beeped and opened. "Suho, you go inside and wait." As the door swung open, however, they could see into the house. Both of them stiffened at once. "What in the—" Their hearts sank. The air felt cold, and objects were scattered everywhere. Jaina's parents had always kept the house clean and neatly organized. And mother? A chill came over her, and her imagination began to run wild with all the bad things that might have happened. "Mother? Are you at home?" Completely pale, Jaina had to search the entire house. Suho, on the other hand, was looking for something else. He had known from the start that nobody was inside the house. "So what I need to look for is a phone." He pulled out his phone again and called his grandfather once more. He heard the phone ringing in a corner of the living room, where it had been left to charge. Jaina blanched. What, he didn't even take his phone with him? "Where's my mother's phone, then?" She called Suho's grandmother, Park Kyung-hae. The phone was not found in the house, though it was not clear if this was a good sign or not. "I guess she took her phone with her. They must have been in a huge hurry if the house looks this disorganized," Jaina said. This did not make her feel any less anxious, however. "Young monarch. I took a look at the garage. They didn't take their car with them," Baru whispered, having just returned from a search. Suho immediately walked out to check. "Suho. Where are you going?" Jaina came with him and noticed the truck still parked in the garage. Her eyes went wide. "What is the truck doing here? They didn't take it with them?" Her expression grew even more serious. This house was surrounded by a large expanse of fields, and it was difficult to go anywhere without a car. Suho stared angrily down at his feet. "Arsha." "Yes, Suho," came a voice from inside the shadow dungeon. "Do you have worker bees in Yangpyeong, too?" "This is my first time coming here, so I don't have that many. But if you wish, I can increase their number quickly. There are plenty of farms nearby. Get on that right away." "Yes, understood." The buzzing of bees suddenly filled the air. The first thing that Arsha did was to use her bees to check the framed photos in the house. After taking a good look at the faces of Suho's grandparents, she spread her bees out in every direction. The bees in the region began to transform into Arsha's worker bees. This was not enough to allow Suho to rest easy, however. It would have been a serious enough matter if his elderly grandfather and grandmother had simply gone missing, but now there was the possibility that the Church of the Outer Gods was involved. "Summon Grey," he said. A small wolf appeared above Suho's shadow. Jaina was momentarily taken aback, but she had already learned from her husband, Yu Jinho, that her nephew had awakened. She quickly adjusted to the sight. In fact, it gave her a good idea. That's right. The Hunters Association. A branch of the association was not far from here, and as it happened, it had recently begun a partnership with a Jin hospital, the best hospital in Yangpyeong. Suho. I know someone at the association. Let me ask them for help, she said, urgently making a call. Gray, find something, anything. And Rakan, are you listening? Suho was going to use every means available to him. Rakan is watching you. Suho sensed Rakan's gaze. Looking in the direction of that gaze, he said, you can tell what's going on, right? Can you figure out what happened here by sniffing out the mana? It would be more efficient to use the dead monarch than to depend on Gray. Rakan smiled intensely as he realized what Suho intended. Rakan suggests a deal. Again? What deal? The dead monarchs were never willing to offer their help for free, it seemed. Rakan explains that in order to use his power, he needs a sacrifice. This was true. A dead monarch could not influence the real world in any way unless a sacrifice was offered, along with a prayer. Understanding this, Suho nodded. The only demand that this monarch had made last time was to hand over useless items to Gray. All right. What do you want? I don't have time. Hurry up and tell me. Rakan smiles and says that the deal won't be such a bad one for you, either. Rakan's presence suddenly grew more and more noticeable. Suho. She's at the association. Jaina shouted right at that instant, after a serious call. Suho spun around. What? My grandmother? Yes. The person I'm talking to actually drove her there. Rakan sighs quietly. The monarch's presence slowly faded away. Suho was no longer interested, anyway. Wait, what is she doing there? Is grandfather there as well? No. That's the reason she went. What? Jaina explained tearfully, my father. Your grandfather. What she said next caused Suho to frown and shout coldly, Gray. The wolf, who had been sniffing around, suddenly enlarged its body. Get on. Suho shouted, letting Jaina jump on the creature's back. Then he began to run toward the branch of the association where his grandmother was reported to be. Min Disik, who was in charge of the Yangpyeong branch of the Hunters Association, always had something to complain about. They called it a transfer, but they relegated me. He grumbled to himself. There were various branches of the association throughout the country, as was commonly the case with such bodies. The type of work that the employees did varied wildly depending on the characteristics of the region they were put in charge of. The most basic type of work, of course, was similar across the board to maintain public security while the hunter guilds cleared out the dungeons. Since there was no telling when or where a gate might spawn, it also fell to the association to constantly search the region and detect any anomalies. There was a problem with this, however. In some regions, dungeons seemed few and far between. While that would generally be considered a good thing for the safety of the citizens, some people simply hated such a peaceful, serene environment. Why must a person like me waste my youth in the countryside? Disik grumbled. Here I am, stuck in this little hole. There he goes again, someone whispered. Don't look at him. If you catch his eye, he'll give you a hard time, just like last time. Disik believed there was no work to be done, none at all. He was quick to show his anger as he suffered through the seemingly never-ending idleness of his new life. The best that his employees could do to deal with his temper attacks was to ignore him, but the thing that made them despair the most was the fact that his behavior wasn't caused by an actual lack of work. No work? Hardly. We keep getting complaints. He keeps on passing most cases to the police, saying that they don't fall within our jurisdiction. Those who knew the way Disik did things simply sighed quietly and whispered among themselves. It was difficult to hold the man completely accountable for this, however. It had only been 2 years since the association was founded. The distinction between the police's jurisdiction and the association's jurisdiction was not clearly defined, leading to some confusion when an incident occurred. There was a lot of room for liberal interpretation. But even with a superior like Disik, there were times when his employees needed to work up the courage to speak to him. Sir. Mrs. Park Kyung-hae is outside. What? What is that old woman doing here again? I told her to go to the police. Dsik shouted, glaring at the employee and yawning, as he usually did. The employee seemed hesitant, but unsurprised by the reaction. And no, we brought her here this time. It seems pretty clear that Sung Il-won has gone missing. All the more reason to go to the police. Dsik barked. The employee fell silent. Ugh. Okay, fine. When did the old man disappear, and where did he go? Dsik asked. The employee was forced to sigh. If I knew that, he wouldn't be missing. If we knew that, he wouldn't be considered missing, came a cold voice. Huh? The employee momentarily thought he had spoken out loud without realizing it. Thankfully, however, he wasn't the one who had spoken. An incredibly powerful, stifling presence suddenly loomed behind him. Both Dsik and the employee gaped. It was Suho, giving off so much malice that it made the building rumble. Skill, Bloodlust has activated. Skill, Bloodlust has activated. Skill, Bloodlust has activated. Dsik, exposed directly to that terrible hostility, turned deathly pale. Whwh Huga. His muscles stiffened as his body suddenly floated into the air. Suho walked up to him with a chilling look on his face and glanced at the identification around Dsik's neck. He also noticed a different kind of necklace around his neck as well. Head of the branch. Huh, he muttered. Strangely enough, a few words from Suho were enough to make Dsik's hair stand on end. The employees all summoned their mana at once at the sudden and terrifying sight. It's a villain. A villain has broken into the office. Chapter 182.
It was as if an earthquake had occurred. All the windows and fluorescent light bulbs around the employees exploded at the same time, like bombs going off. The interior of the building was already in pandemonium. The immense pressure that bore down upon them felt as though it could crush the structure at any moment, making it hard for the employees of the association to even breathe properly. Attack him! A few association hunters who had managed to withstand the hostile energy somehow drew their weapons and rushed at Suho. However, a huge wolf suddenly blocked their way and growled viciously. Gray used the skill, Scorn of the Weak. Effect, Fear has been activated. The target stats are reduced by 50% for 1 minute. The hunters paled at the overwhelming size of the wolf. They realized that this attack must have been orchestrated. It was a terrorist attack prepared carefully against the association. This shocking realization only added to their confusion. What kind of villain was unhinged enough to attack the Hunters Association? Not even the infamous Hwang Dong-soo would dare to try such madness. What does he even want? Why would he do this? What on earth for? The hunters were completely stumped. There wasn't a single person who could think with any semblance of reason. They blindly raced toward the villain they saw ahead of them, repressing the terror that threatened to overwhelm them. Ooh! The great wolf slapped them aside as soon as they did so, and the employees were sent flying back. The others lost the will to fight as they watched their companions be thrown against the wall like rag dolls. We are going to die, the hunters thought. They were convinced that certain death had come upon them. Gah! Minute Dsok, who had been floating in the air in front of Suho, summoned all the mana that he could to resist the violent energy pressing down on him. Gritting his chattering teeth, he glowered at Suho. There will be consequences for all. Suho reached out, and Dsok's body was sucked toward him. His hand seemed as though it was about to break Dsok's neck. Dsok clamped his eyes shut, but Suho, instead of snapping his neck, tore off the necklace he was wearing. Let me ask you something, Suho said coldly. Dsok shuddered from terror as the voice, which sounded demonic to him, entered his ears. His scared eyes took in Suho's savage gaze. You had better answer. Suho held the necklace out in front of Dsok's face. This stardust necklace. Where did you get it? The object likely had connections to the Church of the Outer Gods, so Suho wondered why the head of the branch had it in his possession. All kinds of thoughts were going through Suho's head at the moment. What's the connection between the association and the Church of the Outer Gods? Does Wu Jinchul, who was supposed to have been a companion of my father's in the past, know about this? Disok suddenly shut his eyes and shouted, "I bought it." "You bought it?" Suho asked, tilting his head. This sight scared Disok so much that he shivered and quickly corrected himself. My apologies. I got it for free, actually. For free? I'm so sorry. I really did offer to pay for it, but the man forced me to take it. Disok's servile eyes roved around, looking at his scattered employees. I'm not the only one who took one. All the other employees also have them. The association employees were aghast. That traitor. You still call yourself our boss? The sudden reveal caused the looks on their faces to change. They hurriedly pulled off the necklaces around their necks or hid them with their hands. The frighteningly impassive expression on Suho's face had dissipated somewhat. "What man are you talking about?" he asked. "What?" Noticing something odd, Disok cautiously cast a fearful gaze at Suho. "Sorry, you aren't from the Merchants Association. They gave us these stardust necklaces." Suho sighed quietly. It was enough to make Disok flinch. Suho soon gestured downward with his hand, and Disok's body floated through the air again. He was forced into a chair that was nearby. After Disok was seated in the chair with a puzzled look on his face, the chair moved on its own, rolling along on its wheels, and he was returned to his desk. He sat meekly without protest. Every employee who saw this seemed puzzled. The tension in the air was stifling. Their eyes instinctively tracked Suho's movements. Suho walked slowly up to Disok's desk and flopped into a chair opposite him. As Disok stared at him, shivering, Suho confidently revealed the reason he was here. "So, you are the head of the branch. I'm here to submit a complaint," he said. "I'm sorry." At that moment, everyone could suddenly breathe again. All the hostility that had filled the air simply vanished. Disok was still puzzled. "A complaint? I'm not sure what you mean." "It seems my grandfather has gone missing. Do you know anything about this?" Disok's brain finally began to function a little bit. As he tried to recall what had happened before this villain had shown up, a conclusion that astounded him slowly formed in his mind. Sorry, but are you Sung Ilhwan's grandson?" "Yes. I'm Sung Suho, the guild master of the Wujin Guild." "So you are not a villain?" "Of course not. I have been authorized by the association as a bounty hunter. I hunt villains." "I'm sorry." Suho confidently held out his business card, as well as his bounty hunter license. The massive wolf suddenly shrank in size, holding its nose haughtily in the air as it sat at Suho's feet. Disok grew extremely disoriented as he watched all of this happen. The same was true of all the employees who had sunk to the floor, dazed looks on their faces. Wait, what? So, he made all this fuss so he could submit a complaint? Everyone had the same thought, but no one was brave enough to say the words out loud. Noticing all the eyes on him, Suho apologized gravely. "I'm sorry. I am rather sensitive about people in my family going missing." "And no, it's not a problem. Anyone would react in such a way." Disok's voice trailed off as he waved his hands urgently in the air. The office had become a disorganized mess in no time at all. Anything made of glass was broken, the lights were dangling from the ceiling, and electric sparks were flying here and there. The damage was too severe for Disok to simply empathize with Suho. "You did all this, and you say you are not a villain?" Anger belatedly filled him as he discovered that Suho was not an enemy. Now that the situation was over, he realized that he had probably looked very undignified in the eyes of his employees. "I get that you are a powerful hunter, but there are laws in this country. You youngster, how dare you do such a thing just because you have a bit more mana than other people? What do you take us for?" Disok balled his fists and suddenly glared at Suho. "Guild master of the Wujin Guild, my ass. I am going to do everything in my power to ensure that you are treated like a villain. As the head of this branch, I am more than capable." Suho locked eyes with Disok, and the fight immediately went out of his eyes. "I trust that you will compensate us for the damages." Disok said meekly. Of course. Thank you. By the time Suho's grandmother, Park Kyung-hae, and his aunt, Sung Jaina, had come into the office, all the mess had been cleaned up. A few of the lights were still broken, but Suho stood under them with his grandmother and aunt as he was told about what had happened thus far. I need to start with an apology. We have been deferring Mrs. Park's complaint for the last few days because we deemed that Mr. Sung Il-hwan wasn't actually missing. Disok explained the situation ingratiatingly based on what his employees had told him. From what I hear, Mr. Sung loves to fish. He likes to go alone, and sometimes he will leave home for 3 days at a time. That's true, Kyung-hae said, nodding. Yangpyeong, which was where the Namhan River and the Bukhan River split, had plenty of quiet fishing spots. As a result, Il-hwan often went out to fish ever since they had moved there. But this time, something seemed different, she said. What seemed different? The look on his face. Mrs. Park. I'm sorry, but such abstract notions will not aid the investigation in any way. It's so frustrating to deal with old people, Disok thought, sighing immediately. But noticing Suho sitting right next to Kyung-hee, he was forced to keep a smile on his face. Well, what look did he have on his face, exactly? My husband has only made that face 3 times thus far. When? The first time was when our son ran away from home. Suho flinched. When he was in middle school, he simply left a note telling us that he had something to do and disappeared. He was gone for no less than 2 years. Kyung-hae smiled bitterly as she recalled the memory. I was so shocked then that I tried to run to the police station immediately, but my husband stopped me. Kyung-hee still could not understand why her husband hadn't seemed confused when his own son had gone missing. At first, she was angry, then frustrated. What parent could remain in their right mind when their child had run away without any warning? Apparently, Sung Il-hwan was different. Kyung-hae had not been able to write off her husband as a cold-blooded man, however, because he had looked as though he was repressing powerful feelings with extreme difficulty. In the end, she went to the police. Il-hwan, on the other hand, had not even tried to find Jinwoo. He tried to stop me as I went around outside, putting up posters for my son. Then he told me, "Let's trust our son." Kyung-hae remembered the look on her husband's face as he said the words. My son came back safe 2 years later, she continued. After he grew up, he went missing again. That was 5 years ago. And this time, his wife disappeared with him. My husband had the same look on his face that time as well, calming me down. He told me we should trust our son again. He was wearing the same look this time, too. The moment Suho heard these words, he became sure of something. Baru, perhaps my grandfather. Indeed, Baru responded telepathically. It seems that he's had his memories back for a while.
Chapter 183. Exactly when did he recover his memories of his past life? Baru had no knowledge of this, but one thing was for certain. The memories of a monarch transcend time itself, he said, telepathically speaking with Suho. Suho understood what Baru was trying to say. The cup of reincarnation. The divine tool which turns back time, the cup of reincarnation, cannot affect the consciousness of higher beings such as rulers and monarchs, Baru continued. The shadow ant cast his mind back. Only a few decades ago, when the war against the monarchs ended and peace had returned to the earth, Wu Jinchul, who was an ordinary policeman after losing all his memories of his past life, had suddenly recovered the knowledge of his past all at once. The cause was extremely simple: a reunion with Sung Jinwoo. That alone had been enough. A meeting with Jinwoo, however, was not at all an ordinary thing. After all, Jinwoo reigned over death itself. He was the great monarch of shadows who had killed all the other monarchs and subdued every dimension. Being directly involved with such a great, noble, and superior being would obviously be a very meaningful event in a person's life. Such a thing could not be written off as ordinary. Sung Il-hwan is his father, no less, and lived half his life with him. He even accepted the power of the rulers inside of him, Baru said. Il-hwan, who once had the power of the rulers, had shared a home with his son, a monarch, for dozens of years. Yu Jinho had recovered all his memories simply by touching the key to the shadow dungeon, so it was now difficult to imagine the impact actually living with Jinwoo would have had on Ilwan. So it wouldn't have been strange at all for him to recover his memories at the slightest opportunity, Suho thought, nodding at Baru's words. The conclusion, it seemed, was that his grandfather had walked off somewhere with the memories of his past life intact. Then where in the world did he go? And what does he seek to accomplish? Many questions floated around in Suho's brain. He decided to focus on the most important part first. The Iterum. How are they involved in his disappearance? Is he currently safe? I'll focus on those two things for now. There was a chance that his grandmother might be placed in a situation similar to Suho's mother. The priority was to find Ilwan as soon as possible. Suho turned to Disik, who was speaking to his grandmother and his aunt. So, who was the last person who saw my grandfather? He asked. Kyunghai had been contacted by an employee of the association before rushing to the branch. The association had not believed Ilwan to be missing until that point. Only today had they become certain. We are not actually sure about this yet, but... began a newly recruited female employee who had brought Kyunghai here herself. She glanced consciously at Disik, then continued, someone said that they saw him, you see. And it wasn't at a fishing spot. Somewhere else? Where? Suho asked. He was near the business association. What? Disik shouted, turning around to face the employee with a very confused look on his face. He quietly reprimanded the woman. Why are you mentioning them all of a sudden? Are you even sure what you are talking about? Can you take responsibility for your words? Wait. All I heard was that he was seen walking in that direction. You know that people don't fish in that area. Of course. That place isn't. Ahem. Noticing the gazes of Suho's family members, Disik suddenly cleared his throat and clammed up. The cat was already out of the bag, however. The business association, huh? Suho slowly said. Disik gasped. He slowly turned around, realizing that Suho was giving off the same frightening energy as he had when he first came in. He was fidgeting with the necklace that he had torn away from Disik's neck. You mentioned that you got this necklace from the same people, Suho said. His tone was becoming impolite once more. Does he have anger issues or something? Disik wondered. He felt like he wanted to cry. Suho looked ready to explode at any moment. Answer me. Why yes. The association in question is just a gathering of people who do business in Yangpyeong. This sort of organization is commonplace. Go on. Sure. There is actually a separate body for businessmen in Yangpyeong. The association that I'm talking about is more of a private gathering created by hunters who are active in this area. They are the ones who made the necklaces and distributed them. Disik found himself spilling everything in response to Suho's questions. Suho noticed something strange about the man's statement. Why would hunters create an organization like that, instead of a guild? For what reason? Surely everyone here knew that it was much more profitable to enter a dungeon rather than waste time on such useless activities. Sometimes a guild engaged in business projects, but those were never the focus. Disik looked extremely anxious as he noticed Suho's cold gaze, his eyes roving around the room. The other employees also did their best to avoid making eye contact with him. These employees were the ones wearing the necklaces. There is something fishy here, Suho realized instinctively. Suddenly, a corner of Disik's desk was crushed by Suho's grip. Baru whispered evilly in Suho's ear, shall I kill him? I will eat his brains and read his memories. Perhaps Disik had overheard the threat, or Baru's sincerity had somehow made itself felt. The moment his desk was damaged, the branch head shuddered and immediately said, it's a black market, yikes. He immediately clamped a hand over his mouth. A black market? Suho asked, his eyes growing even more fierce. Disik grew paler as he rushed to make an excuse. You see. Let me be clear about something. I have nothing to do with it. I've been told that it isn't ready yet, and I don't really know. What is a black market for? Jaina asked. Disik sighed deeply. It's not surprising that non-hunters are not aware of what it is. A black market is a market for direct transactions between hunters. A market? Yes. To be more precise, deals and auctions are held there to evade taxes. With the mention of tax evasion, Sung Jaina understood right away. Even hunters, with their superhuman abilities, feared taxes. Because they were categorized as very high-income earners, they paid a tax rate of no less than 50% of their income. Half the money that they had earned by risking their lives to fight magic beasts was taken by the government. All such taxes were used to help citizens who had become victims of dungeon accidents or rebuild cities that had been destroyed by dungeons. It was the Hunters Association that oversaw the precise usage of those taxes. And you mean to say that the association is allowing the operation of a black market, which has a primary goal of tax evasion? Jaina asked. And no. The black market was an ongoing project before I even started working here. I opposed it at first. At that moment, Disik's desk began to crumble like a piece of tofu under slow, successive blows from Suho's fist. Eek. The branch head was suddenly seized by the fear that a similar fate might await him. His breath stuck in his throat. Disik was not the only one who was terrified, however. Suho stood up and ran his cold eyes over all the association employees in the office. The employees, who had been wearing the same necklaces as their boss, blanched and trembled. Wu Jinchul would deal with the legal issues involving these people at a later point. Suho asked, so where can I find this black market? Yangpyeong was a big region, almost as big as Jeju Island. Yangpyeong had one major difference from Jeju Island: there were many obstacles to development, such as water source and nature conservation zones. Because of this, the district contained mountains, forests, and valleys in all directions, and there were countless fishing spots. Given the rugged terrain, people often went missing, just like Sung Ilwan had. That's a very thick, wet fog, Suho muttered to himself. Yangpyeong has a lot of humidity because of its many dams, Kay remarked, appearing out of the blue and sharing what he knew. Suho walked along through the fog as he listened. I get it now, young monarch, Baru said. He had just realized what seemed so strange about the region when they first set foot in it. It seems that blue mist has mixed with this fog. Don't tell me there's a dungeon somewhere inside, too? Suho said. It seems to be the case. Perhaps the association wasn't able to notice thus far because the blue mist did not flow out of the fog, Kay said. Having been a villain in the past, as well as the vice guild master of the Fiend Guild, he recognized the value of the place right away. I think I would have wanted to make a black market here myself if I had known of it. It was capable of even hiding a gate, which meant they could hide basically anything. Kay, head on the ground, Suho ordered. Right. Having been a villain himself, Kay was obviously very empathetic to the thought processes of criminals. Okay. I'm starting to sense it now, Suho said, halting. The mana from the gate, which had seemed faint because it had mixed with the fog, had begun to become more noticeable. In fact, I think this entire region is a field-type dungeon. Essel, who had been walking beside him, also looked around with glowing eyes. Then she discovered something. It's a demon totem. Can you tell what it's for? Suho asked. It's a barrier that alerts the demons of any non-demon who tries to approach. Non-demon? Suho said with a slight grin. Then I will become a demon. He took out the crow mask, which had laid unused in his inventory for a while. It was something that the demons who worked in Stardust factories wore. Naturally, this was not enough to deceive the barrier. Essel? All right. Item: Vulcan's horns have been equipped. Their teamwork had matured greatly. Essel immediately used spirit transfer to attach the Vulcan's horns to Suho's head. He was now wearing the mask and the horns of a demon, so it was hard not to think of him as a demon. This should be enough to deceive the barrier, Essel whispered. Suho walked confidently through the barrier. The scene before him changed, and the black market Deseek had mentioned appeared. Chapter 184. The first thing that came to Suho's mind as he walked toward the black market was that the scene resembled a traditional ink painting. The route went through a deep, foggy valley, surrounded by mountainous terrain. Suho followed the curving path upward, and a vast building slowly came into view. A temple? Temple seemed to be the only word he could use to adequately describe the building. Its ceiling rose high into the air, and the stone pillars were crude but elaborately decorated. In the center of the facade was a huge door made of bronze. There was an overwhelming holiness to the place that made its identity as a temple obvious, though it was unclear what divinity it was meant for. Baru flinched and suddenly looked forward, his eyes glinting sharply. "Young monarch, I sense many individuals deep inside that building. Humans? Or magic beasts?" Baru moved his antennae and said with certainty, "Humans with mana. I think they are mostly hunters." "What about demons?" "I sense demons as well, but there are not that many of them. There is no one right inside the door." "Just like the branch had said," Suho replied, nodding and walking carefully toward the building. He looked up at the firmly shut entrance. The door looked very heavy, and ordinary people could probably never open it. With Suho's extremely high-strength stat, of course, he could not only open it but even destroy it with a single blow if he wanted. But if I did that, there would be no point in having snuck up here. It was unclear if his grandfather was even inside. It was probably not a good idea to start by attracting attention. Besides, he already knew how to open this door. Suho produced the stardust necklace that he had taken from Deseek. Putting it around his neck, he reached out and gave the door a soft push. Surprisingly enough, the heavy door rumbled and moved as if it weighed nothing. When the door was fully open, the expansive interior came into view. The building looked damp, with the floors, walls, and ceilings covered with patches of moss. Suho walked into a corridor, following the torches that were hanging from the walls. He burst into incredulous laughter. So he was right. Who knew the necklace was actually meant to be used as a pass to enter the black market? The public believed that the necklaces had been made in commemoration, seemingly part of a noble movement to pray for those who had died and become the material from which the necklaces were made. Most of the proceeds from selling the necklaces were actually being used for the families of the deceased, in fact, which meant that nobody suspected anything was amiss. It seems all of that was a front, thought Suho. According to Deseek, only a very small number of hunters knew the truth. The black market had not been around for very long, which meant that only a few knew about it in the first place. But the knowledge would spread soon enough. All it takes is for a few hunters to be told about the black market, and the rumors will take off on their own, Kay said. And once the black market became known, hunters would voluntarily look to acquire these necklaces. Kay stuck his head out, looking intrigued. The black market was quite the interesting place. This is the sort of business strategy you would expect to find from a Ponzi scheme. Such scams usually generated victims in this way. They would start with a small number of people and invite others in as if private benefits were being offered. Some of these types of schemes were suspiciously religious in nature. Suho didn't care about such things, however, as long as none of it affected him. However, there was a chance here that the religion in question could be the Church of the Outer Gods, which served the Iterum. In any case, one thing was clear: if this place was really the temple of the Church of the Outer Gods, the followers of Iterum had already perfectly adapted to life on Earth. Suho walked along the corridor for a while and soon came to an open, dome-shaped space. It looked several times bigger than an Olympic stadium, or perhaps even larger than that. He was a bit taken aback by what he saw inside, however. He had expected a black market to be very dark and secretive, but things were incredibly cheerful and bright. 200 kilos of mana stone. I am accepting counteroffers. We have all kinds of ores from the dungeons. Chances are, we'll have what you need. Come check them out. Special discount today for magic beast corpses. First person to come up gets a cheaper price. Shocking sale underway. In my opinion, the owner has lost his mind. Buy up while you can. If you don't have any cash, we accept mana stones. Ugh. You're not from around here, are you? What kind of idiot uses a credit card at a black market? It felt like some kind of bustling fair. Countless mats and booths filled the vast space. Many people had taken up their spots and were shouting out to the passers-by, selling their wares. Suho laughed incredulously. What is this, some kind of bazaar? It was supposed to be a black market that had been created with the purpose of evading taxes, but it looked more like a flea market for second-hand goods. There were some surprises in store as well. Young monarch, it seems that there are blacksmiths who will process ores into weapons for money, Baru said. You're right. And most of the blacksmiths are demons, Suho remarked. Surprisingly, humans and demons seem to coexist peacefully here. Passing visitors who bartered goods were usually hunters, but those who had set up shop and were producing and selling goods were demons in crow masks. In other words, the demons were like the staff who ran the market. A market where humans and demons do business alongside each other? How odd, Suho thought. Master, I see an auction house and a gambling house over there, too, Kay said. Suho turned in the direction Kay was pointing and finally saw something that seemed to fit the setting of a black market. Just one more round. Lend me some money. I'll win more and repay you. Hunters in front of the gambling house who seemed to have wasted all their money were begging to borrow more. They summoned mana from their bodies in frustration, but the guards in crow masks who were blocking the gambling house entrance gripped them tightly by the shoulders. I'm sorry. Please calm down. We won't be allowing that kind of behavior. We don't wish to throw you off the premises by force. So just lend me some money, just one more time. Ugh. All right, then. Why don't you take part in a few games yourself? What? No worries. We will ensure that you are not outmatched. The gamblers seemed shaken by this offer made by the demons, though they still seemed unable to take their eyes off the gambling house. Eventually, the hunters came to a decision they would regret. Why, you promise? Of course. You know how it works. Our underground arena is about hand-to-hand fighting, with no items allowed. You are powerful hunters. What have you to worry about? Well, then. Can we get an advance on some of that money? Suho saw the demons smile broadly behind their masks. They had apparently found some new victims to take advantage of. A guard took the hands of a hunter. Of course you can. Let us discuss the particulars of the contract over there. Suho watched as the gamblers followed the demons. An underground arena? So it's literally a deal with the devil, he mused. You are aware, young monarch, that gambling is a shortcut to ruin. Huh? Why are you walking in that direction? Didn't you hear? There's an underground arena. It can't hurt to watch. The gatekeeper demons bowed politely to Suho when he approached. I don't think I've seen you around here before. Are you from a different factory? One of them asked. They glanced up at the horns on Suho's head with some wariness. Respond in an arrogant tone. Vulcan's horn has made them think that you are a higher demon than they are, Essel advised in his head. Suho nodded briefly and said, I heard the rumors and dropped by to have a look. Is there a problem? He made sure the demons could see the stardust necklace around his neck. The gatekeepers quickly backed away, and one responded in a friendly tone, of course not. There is no problem at all. We always welcome visitors from new factories. If you need us to show you around, we are more than willing to oblige. Odd. Suho received the impression that they were like sales agents looking to establish new business connections. They didn't seem to hide this intent of theirs at all. If you don't mind, may we ask how many star fragments you have? At the same time, their snake-like gazes looked Suho, who seemed empty-handed up and down. As you know, so many factories have completely run dry recently. Suho was silent for a moment, and Essel whispered telepathically as if offended, disgusting. These low-level demons shouldn't dare to talk this way to a horned demon. Hey, no need for you to be upset. It's not like I'm a real demon. Suho responded with his thoughts. It seemed that the hierarchy among demons was not a major consideration in this place. The gatekeeper suddenly smiled mockingly at him. Ah. Just as we expected. We knew the moment you arrived empty-handed. There are so many demons nowadays coming to us without a single fragment to offer. A bag of stardust suddenly appeared in Suho's hand, which had been empty just a moment before. The gatekeeper's eyes went wide. It did not stop at just one bag. More bags appeared one by one. Suho had stored all the stardust that he had acquired while looting demon factories in his inventory. A sardonic smile appeared on his lips as he showed the bags to the demons. Not enough for you? It's more than enough, sir. Please come this way. We will show you to the VIP room. Go on, then. Yes, sir. The demons immediately grew submissive and guided Suho inside. His eyes gleamed sharply as he followed them. The VIP room, huh? Demons sure know how to live. It had been a good idea to pretend to be a demon from the start. If he wanted to find out whether his grandfather was here, it would be quickest to start his investigation in the deepest part of the market. Chapter 185. Suho followed the demons into the black market's gambling house. As he had already heard outside, the gambling that was going on inside wasn't of the card game or poker variety. Ugh. Die, damn it. This gambling house was a broad underground arena that stank of blood and sweat. There, two hunters who had removed all of their equipment were fighting to the death. The malice and desperation in their eyes made it easy to see what was going on. Hee hee. Quite the entertaining sight, is it not? All these humans are desperate to pay off their gambling debts, said one of the gatekeeper demons with a grin. In Suho's head, Essel said cynically, Tisk, trashy low-ranked demons. Demon nobles, with their absolute rank, no longer existed. The low-ranked demons that lived in various parts of the world seemed very eager to mimic their obsolete nobility. At least the demons I encountered in the previous demon realm fought each other, rather than enlisting humans. It seems that these demons are not even doing the fighting themselves. A cold glint appeared for a moment in Suho's eyes. He was well aware of Colosseum fights, which had been enjoyed by the demon nobility. He himself had become a demon gladiator and taken part in a fight. As it happened, however, the situation was reversed this time. Moments later, Suho arrived at a terrace-like location with a great view of the arena. This is the VIP room, one of the guards said. Humans cannot access this place, so please enjoy yourself at your leisure. If you wish to partake in the games, please feel free to tell us at any time. All right. Suho sat on a plush sofa and looked around him with a leisurely air. A few demons were already watching the fights in the VIP room. They all looked quite similar to each other, wearing crow masks that hid their faces and stardust necklaces around their necks. Their attention was diverted to Suho as soon as he entered the room, however. Ah, a newcomer. I haven't seen him before. What amazing horns. They were interested only in the horns that were growing out of Suho's head. Some looked curious, others looked servile and terrified, and some even seemed to watch him with admiration. The eyes that peered out at him from the various masks made it clear what complicated emotions the demons were feeling. None of them seemed willing to come over and speak to him, however. This is natural, Essel explained. Vulcan's horn is completely different now from what it was like when you were a gladiator. Vulcan had originally been a shoddy noble who hadn't been able to create bloodstones, the luxurious objects demon nobles fed on. That was why he had devoured more of his own kind than any other noble. He was now dead, and his horns were all that remained of him, but he was still eager to devour the souls of other demons. Suho, who was a human, could not see it, but the other demons could sense the terrible and greedy demonic energy that burned in the horns, which had consumed their fill of demonic souls. Terrible. How many demons do you have to devour to produce that sort of energy? Don't tell me he devoured every demon in his own factory? Though none of the demons in the VIP room said anything out loud, their thoughts were mostly along the same lines. Suho suddenly clicked his tongue, making them flinch. "What is everyone looking at?" he asked. The demons quickly averted their eyes, looking embarrassed. There was one who did not do so, however. "My goodness, please, forgive them if they seemed rude. I'm sure they were all just happy to see you. I don't know if you're aware, but this is also a place for meeting new friends." A demon suddenly came up to Suho, making friendly conversation. He seemed no different from the others, but on closer inspection, there was something that set him apart. "He's not wearing a necklace," Suho remarked telepathically. "Could he be the host?" Essel quickly asked. The demon drew close, smiling awkwardly when he realized that Suho was simply staring at him without saying anything. "Haha. Well, I see that you are the reticent type. Let me introduce myself. I am Lotto. I run this establishment." That isn't a common demon name. Either he has no name in the first place, or it's a random alias, Essel explained. Suho considered this for a moment. What should I do here? This demon was demanding to know his identity. Since Lotto was going by a fake name himself, Suho could provide any alias he wished. Doing so would not allow him to find out much, however. By avoiding this encounter, Suho would only be killing time with nothing to show for it. Suho finally spoke. "My name is Vulcan." Every demon in the VIP room went wide-eyed at that moment, staring at Suho with shocked looks on their faces. "As Suho?" Essel exclaimed. It seemed she was startled as well. "That seems to be a dangerous alias to go by," Lotto said. "Alias, you say?" Suho responded, smiling in amusement. He looked right into Lotto's eyes, and the friendly smile on the demon's face was replaced by a frown. Suho grinned and asked, "What makes you think I'm using an alias?" "As far as we know, there are no demon nobles left in the world. All except me, that is." "Do you mean to say that you really are one?" The look in Lotto's eyes was growing colder and colder during the short conversation. The other demons also seemed to have suddenly turned hostile, directing immense malice towards Suho. However, Suho had faced far too many strong opponents to be cowed by the likes of them. He relaxed even more, crossing his legs and leaning back in the sofa. Raising one of his hands and reaching toward the gatekeeper demon beside him, Suho spoke to Essel. "Essel, can you create a bloodstone for me?" "I don't know what you're thinking, Vulcan." "Well, alright." Essel did as he requested, even though she did not understand what Suho was up to. In the worst-case scenario, they could simply destroy this place and run, or perhaps fight back. Dark blood was drawn out of the gatekeeper demon's body, traveling towards Suho's hand. All the demons who saw this shot to their feet, shocked expressions upon their faces. The blood formed a round ball on Suho's palm and began to turn into a dark bloodstone. Is that a bloodstone?" "It is." "Unbelievable. He's really a demon noble?" Suho released an aura of malice at that precise moment. Skill, Bloodlust has activated. The demons were rendered speechless as the energy filled the entire VIP room as well as the rest of the establishment, forcing them to instinctively get down or back away. They had witnessed a bloodstone being created, as well as felt an amount of energy that surpassed their own. The combination forced even Lotto to grow pale with fear. This can't be. Is it really Vulcan? But he looks different. Maybe he possessed this human. Seems effective, Suho thought. Listening to the muffled murmuring from around the room, Suho and Essel spoke to each other in Suho's head. "What in the world are you thinking?" Essel asked. "What else? They are playing at being nobility, so I'm teaching them a thing or two. You know that Vulcan was a noble who could not make bloodstones. They probably know it, too." "Yes. That's what makes this meaningful." Suho smiled faintly and withdrew his bloodlust spell. He looked at Lotto again. "So, was that enough to convince you?" he asked. Lotto did his best to stay calm and erase the confusion in his face. "That is very surprising. A real bloodstone. Lotto's eyes were still on the bloodstone that was in Suho's hand. He simply could not believe what he was seeing, but that bloodstone was evidently real. This only confused him more. But, as far as I know, Vulcan was unable to make bloodstones at all, he said. That's true. Once I learned how, however, it really wasn't all that difficult. Not all that difficult? Lotto repeated, his eyes wide. Avarice filled the eyes of the demons present. Suho's words had been more than enough to excite them. The reason that the demons had developed stardust in the first place was to mimic the creation of bloodstones, which was a power unique to their nobles. Bloodstones were proof of a real noble's identity, and demons could only efficiently grow their power and become nobles through bloodstones. Only by becoming actual nobles could they be qualified to become the successor of Baron, the monarch of White Flames, who was now dead. If the newcomer's words were true, then Vulcan the demon noble who had been dismissed by others for being unable to create bloodstones on his own for the longest time had finally gained the ability. It suddenly didn't matter to the demons whether Suho was actually Vulcan or not. Don't tell me you figured out how to create bloodstones on your own? Lotto asked. Why do you ask? Do you want to learn how? Lotto's eyes bulged from his head. Every word that Suho now spoke seemed to shake up the demons. Essel muttered disbelievingly in Suho's thoughts, oh, Suho. But anyone, even a demon, would be eager to believe another who claimed to have something they were desperate for. Lotto stammered, is that an ability that can be learned? No. No. Essel exclaimed. It's not something you can learn, ever. Bloodstones are. Why not? Suho said. You fraud. Ignoring Essel, Suho spoke in the most serious and genuine tone he could muster. However. The demons flinched. However, what? The demons, who had been on their guard against Suho at first only to be overcome with shock and awe, were now hanging on his every word. Enjoying their intense gazes leveled at his face, Suho leaned back languidly. I thought this was a gambling establishment. Go about your business, everyone. Wait, Vulcan, sir. That's not what's important right now. Crack. Suho suddenly crushed the bloodstone in his palm. The demons watched, distraught, as the stone turned to dust and dissipated.